What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips where you already know we get it in. Tas, tas, tas. But before we get it in, let's get the intro in. Everyone's missing the music. Here we go. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate all the support, man. I'm very humbled by it. So Halloween's coming, right? It's about to get spooky. So a lot of people ask me for the paranormal stories. And look, man, I'm not going to make shit up, but I'm going to keep it real. And I talked to my primo and he reminded me, he goes, remember that one time? And I said, I remember that one time. So here we go for the one time, right? Trip out on this, man. This is a crazy story. So in my area, in my county, Merced County, there's several little towns, right? And one of the little towns we frequent is called Winton, right? And there's a lot of Southerners. In fact, Winton is comprised of Southsiders, man. That's one of the upstate movements. They went to Atwater. They went to Winton. They stood in Winton. It just is what it is. It's a it's a small town. It's kind of like Big Sloan, where your favorite rapper, Tommy Guns, is from. It's just a small little spot, right? They only have a few stores and one park, but that park hosts a big Vario called Winton Vario Parque, right? So I have a primo that's a Southsider. I have a few primos that are Southsiders. He was a youngster, man, and I remember this particular day. I could never forget it, right? His principal had called me. He was going to a school called Valley, right? Now, there used to be Valley High in Merced, and then there was Valley High in Atwater. And the reason why was back in my days, there was only one Valley. And that was for all the fuck-ups, all the bad kids, everyone who got kicked out of school, expelled, couldn't just function in regular high schools. They'd send you to Valley High, and it was a continuation school. A lot of people in a lot of different cities, man, have went to the continuation schools because they're trying to continue. My primo was trying to continue, but what had happened was they had split up the Valley High in Merced County because there were so many Southsiders from Atwater and Winton and those little areas that they made all those guys go to that fucking valley in Atwater. And they made all the Northerners from Livas, Planada, La Grande, Merced, Los Baños, all that go to Merced County, the Merced one, right? Which was Yosemite High. Whatever the case may be, one day I get a phone call. I shouldn't even be getting the fucking phone call. This is just my primo. But he decided he didn't want to deal with this heifer because he already knew his mom was going to give him that fucking straight up chancla, right? So this lady calls me. And it's a principal, excuse me. She's like, hey, is there any way you can pick your nephew up? And I'm like, my nephew? Right. And he gets on the phone. He's like, hey, what's up, primo? He's like, hey, man, I got into it with some homies. Come swoop me up. So I'm like, all right, I'll be there. Give me like a half hour, bro. I got to take a shower and, do my thing. So he's like, all right, cool. So I talked to the principal. She sounds familiar. And she knows exactly who I am, but I don't know who she is. She said, I'd like to have a talk with you when you get here. I said, cool. So I'm not going to lie. I had the cutlass on go ones. I was all gang banged out in Northern. Now here it is, a Southsider calling a Northerner to come pick him up. But we're family and we don't play that shit. Sometimes. But not very many times, right? So I cruise over there. As I'm pulling up, he's outside sitting on a bench and she's with him. And I'm like, oh, hell no. I get flashbacks to when I was a little badass kid doing bad shit, right? And this was the same lady that used to deal with me. In fact, it was so bad that I did great in school. I just didn't do great at break or lunch. I was like expelled from lunch and break because that's when I fought all the time and did stupid shit. And I always had the same excuse. I'd tell my mom, she'd be all mad. What'd you do? Well, they called you a bitch, mom. And you know how it was, little kids. Do something. Your mom's a bitch. And then I'd take flight. Period. So her name was Miss Hutchinson. She used to be my vice principal at my school when I was a young kid in junior high school, right before I went to Y for the murder case, right? And now she's his principal. So she sees me. She starts shaking her head. She's like, man, the apple don't fall far from the tree, right? I can fall far. It doesn't fall far from the tree. So I see my cousin right there, and I'm like, get in the car, fool, right? You got me dealing with this whole white lady, this Karen amongst Karens, right? And she's like, I try to teach him. I try to tell him, but he don't listen, just like you didn't listen. Bitch, look, I'm a grown man now. I don't got to listen to nothing, right? Here I am with a Mongolian, a cutlass on gold ones, and tattoos. Guess I should have listened, right? So she gives me her little speech and how, she hopes that I'm doing well in life and everything. And she looks at me and she says, I can tell you still got a lot of learning to do. And I could tell she still got a lot of teaching to do. So I get my little cousin to come, like, what's up, fool? He's like, hey, man, there's some cat moved from Long Beach. I got off on him. Now, for those of you that never watch my stories, this is exactly what happened. And then we're going to lead into the paranormal bullshit because it got crazy that day. It was all in one day. What had happened was me and my chick at the time were living in this apartment complex on Loftboro, which is my enemy's area. They used to be the enemies, right? Weren't so much anymore, but we were doing the family thing. I was still an active North Daniel, but I was familyed out the game. And so one day I was getting my trash and I was taking it in the complex to go throw trash. And there was a little vato there, right? He's all, you know what I'm saying? You could tell he was a gang member. To what degree a gang member, we were about to find out. But as I'm walking, I see him and I'm like, hey, homie, where you from? All active and shit, right? Back then we didn't say, are you active? We didn't do that. We just, hey, where you from, right? So I'm like, hey, where you from? And he's like, I'm from the West. I was like, all right, cool. I'm from the West too. That was like code for I'm from West Side Merced, right? No questions asked. I didn't say, let me see some paperwork or how many burpees can you do or fucking when's the last time you killed something? Like none of that. Just he said, I'm from the West. I said, all right, that's right, West. Threw my little trash and he scurried off wherever he went. He was throwing his trash, whatever. I didn't even trip. So later on, what happens was the next day. It was the next day I had pulled up to pick my primo up because my tia was too busy playing bingo at Table Mountain, which is a casino, right? So I went to go pick him up and I see that dude. He's a youngster, right? I see him right there with my primo, and then I'm like, hey, who's that vato right there? He said, the homeboy just moved here from Long Beach and shit. He's from West Side Longo. I said, that despicable motherfucker tricked me, right? Now, he was a youngster. I didn't know he was a youngster. He looked older. You know how young kids back in them days, they already had fucking brochas and shit. But I was like, damn, fool. I said, I'm going to keep it real, bro. Your homeboy's a sucker, man. I said, I was all flamed up. I went to go throw my trash, and I hit him up, and he said he was from the West. He said, well, he didn't lie. I said, yeah, but he didn't tell the truth either. That motherfucker should have got off where he was mad at. I would have got off where I was mad at if I would have known. But the way he played it off, like, I'm from the West. You know what it is, right? And he was like, for reals? I said, yeah. He's like, oh, that's some sucker shit, right? Now, my cousin was like super sweet out, gang banged out, right? To the point where like he was different. I have my other primo who's a Southsider who don't give a fuck about nothing. He's down for whatever. But this one, which is his brother, was like super duper, right? And so he's like, all right, when I get back to school tomorrow, we're gonna deal with it. I'm like, nah, don't get in no trouble, man. Just kick it. I forget all about it. I'm too busy all up getting in my morning, doing my thing, right? With my chick at the time. So the next day I get the call to go pick him up. So when I picked him up, I'm like, what happened, fool? He's like, I told you, fool, we were gonna get off. He said, man, we told that dude he's a sucker, man. He's letting Norteños punk him. I said, I didn't punk him, man. Don't do it like that. He goes, nah, bro, you hit him up and he didn't say where he's from. He should have been like, Soul Gang, right? But he didn't. So that is what it is. I said, yeah, but I didn't even approach him. And he said, it doesn't matter. You told me and I fucking told the homies and we got off. So they stomped this dude out. Whatever. That's their business. So I pick him up and he's like, do me a favor, primo. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to drop you off at your pad. That's the favor I'm doing you. He said, nah, take me to Winton Vario Parque. And I was like, I don't go over there. Now, I used to go over there when I was a youngster, before I game banged when I was a kid. We used to go over there because my grandmother lived in Winton, right off Santa Fe, right? So we'd go over there, hang out. There was nothing else to do. There's a couple fucking stores that the Paisas own, and then there's like I think it's called Super K, where everyone gets shot at. Like, there's really nothing there. So as youngsters, we used to go to that Super K, get a little Slurpee. It was like a generic ass 7-Eleven. We'd walk down to Winton Vario Park. I remember once a year they'd have like a fair. It wasn't even a fair. It was like a carnival there. That was like the highlight of the fucking hood's life. And so I hadn't been there since a youngster. So I was like, hey, man, I heard there's a gang of Southsiders there. He said, exactly. I said, drop me off. So I'm like, all right, I'll take you. So we cruise over there. He has a few homeboys. I drop them off, whatever, right? I go back to my pad. It's probably like 6 or 7 in the evening. It's already getting dark because it's summertime, right? Or it's not summertime, but it's getting to be like spring going into summer. You know when it starts getting dark sooner. And so he calls me. Why he doesn't call his fucking jefita, I have no idea. This motherfucker calls me, right? And he's across the street at some chick's house because back then, not everybody had cell phones. This is 1996, right? And so he calls me. He's like, hey, primo, do me a paro. I said, what's up? He said, man, me and a couple of homeboys, he's from Stockton, man. He needs to go over there and pick up some money. And I was like, man, I ain't picking you and your little Southsider friends up. He's like, no, they ain't even tripping like that. I said, motherfucker, I don't give a fuck if they're tripping. I'm tripping like that. I'm not trying to go all the way to Stockton, bro. I ain't got no gas money. He's like, we'll hook you up when we get there. We'll give you 100. I said, what are these youngsters into? They were hustlers, right? So I said, who's all going? He says, me and a couple homeboys. I said, all right, boom. He's like, just take us. We're going to pick up this money. We'll break you off and then drop us back off at the park. We're going to meet up with some chicks. And I said, what do you mean going? To what degree of chicks are you going to meet up with? You little young whippersnappers. He's like, hey, we're at a chick's house right now across the street. And they were fucking with like 18, 19, 20-year-old chicks. I was like, damn, these guys are fucking with chicks my age, right? They were like 16, 17 at the time. They were young seniors or whatever. So I'm like, all right, fool. So I go swoop him and a couple of one of his homeboys got the fucking clown tattoo. I mean, he's all gang banged out. He's from Stockton. He's from Playboys, right? So we're jamming, we're cruising, man. I ain't even gonna lie, I'm bumping in the north side. This is how we ride. Red rag till we. They're all pissed, right in the back. Sit your little asses in your high chairs and shut up. So we get there, right? Bam, he jumps off. Big old Southsider comes to the car. He's like, what's up, bitch? Where you from? I said, the West, right? Straight up. Hey, if his homeboy can do it, why can't I? I'm from the West. He's like, oh, that's right, Holmes. Boom. I'm not telling him nothing. I turn that music down quick, man. Next thing you know, I'm bumping some Spanky Local on the way back, like, soul gang, right? So as we get back into town, he breaks me off straight up 100. This kid got like 1,000 cash, hella 20s, hella 100s. I was like, damn, what are you into? Oh, his dad sold the car, and bam, he's getting his issue out of it. I'm like, all right, whatever. I don't give a shit. Just give him my 100, right? So I'm like, what's up, baby? You want me to drop you guys off right here? He's like, yeah, just drop us off. And there's a gang of chicks there. And one of the chicks' moms is out there. She's bad, like super bad. And I pulled up and I'm like, so gang, I'm going to kick it with the Southside chick, right? They're all LA Dodgered out and they're sitting there in Winton, Vario Park. It's like straight up Southsider hood, right? I'm like, fuck it. I don't give a fuck, right? I'm going to post up. This was my part before it was their part. That's it, right? Park gang. And so I jump off and I'm at the mom, like, what's up, girl? What's up? Ooh, she's like, oh, these youngsters, man, they just hang out. They're not bad, right? And so she lived across the street. Remember, I told you my cousin was fucking with some chick across the street. There was like nice little houses they had just built. With the mom, I'm like, man, let's go chill at your pad. She's like, let's go. So we go over there, right? So, of course, my cousin and then come walking over. It's like we're there like an hour. We're kicking it. I didn't do nothing. I didn't get no play, but it just felt good to kick it with a fine woman. And then I have to be on post because she's like, my old man's locked up. He's from Los. He's from East LA. This Boyle Heights, all kinds of shit. She's telling me shit that I could really care less about at that time. You know what I'm saying? My Mongolian is whipping. I whip my head back and forth. And I'm chilling. And so anyways, my primo comes across the street. He's all panicked and shit. I'm thinking, Northerners pulled up and gave you guys the business, huh? Damn Levi's, right? And my primo comes in, his homeboy. He has a few homeboys with him, right? The chicks are all scared. And she's like, Mom, we seen a ghost, right? And I'm like, these motherfucking kids she's looking at me like, we got to move back to LA. This is crazy shit over here, right? They got to keep their fucking shirts on over here. So my primo's like, nah, primo, we seen something, man. I said, it was probably a fucking bum taking a shit in the bushes out there. He said, nah, primo, we really, serio, right? Now, my cousin, there's one thing about him. He's doing life in prison right now. Like, he's gangstered out the game, right? This fool don't lie. Like, he's just straight up, hey, he's hella slow, too. Like, they should have called him Dopey. He'd be like, hey, which way did we go? And he spiced that out the game because he's from Mexico. My tia had 2 kids in Mexico with the dad, and she brought him back, and he doesn't even have papers and shit. Straight up. If they were out to get him, they'd catch him, right? But he's locked up anyway. But anyways, my primo's like, hey, man, for real, like, there's fucking, there's a ghost over there or something. I said, there ain't a fucking ghost, right? So I tell the chick, right, the chick that I'm talking to, I'm like, you want to go take a walk over there? She's like, fuck it, let's go. She throws on her little Dodger hoodie. Like, I'm all northern out Mongolian, red baño, with a whole bunch of little Southsider kids. I didn't give a fuck. I wasn't thinking straight. Plus, I had a gun, so I wasn't tripping. You know what I'm saying? If any of them act crazy, here I go, back to prison. So we walk across the street, one big group, like we're trick-or-treating or something, right? And I'm like, where? And they're like, over there. Now, the way this park is built, it's all yellow grass. I've never seen green grass there. It's like they just found a dirt lot and they just put a fucking merry-go-round there. Bam, there's your park. It's got a few eucalyptus trees and like a one bathroom where all the local tiradas get boned by the fucking big homies, right? That's just how it is. So I'm like, man, there ain't shit here, right? And I see like a light, like a flashlight. And I'm thinking, someone's just back there fucking with these kids, right? So I tell the shit, let's go walk over there. My primo's like, we're going with you. They're all scared and shit. They're youngster. No, let's go. So you can keep walking like on a path. It's a pretty big park though. It goes way back. And as we're walking, boom, boom, my primo goes, look, and I see the light flashing. I said, someone with the fucking flashlight. He's like, nah, primo, you don't understand. We seen something. I'm like, all right. And the chicks are scared to death. They're like, no, they stood at the house, right? It was all the guys went. One of the chicks came, which was the mom's daughter, and the mom, it was me, the mom, her daughter, like 4 or 5 little Southsider dudes and my primo. And so we're mobbing, right? And I'm looking and I see this light flashing. It looks like a flash, but as I get closer, it's like a bluish light. And I said, Orale, the Sureño bat symbol, right? They're letting us know, boom, Winton Vario Parque. And so we get over there and I go walking up. I'm trying to play tough because this chick's with me, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever been with a Southsider chick or a chick from Southern California, their shit is different, right? And I'm trying to experience that for like the second or third time. So as I'm walking, this light hits like a spotlight, boom, and it illuminates us. And I'm like, what the fuck, right? Nobody there. No, I'm like, what? And I walk up, the light poof, dims, there's nothing. And I kind of take a step back. I look at the chick. She kind of looks at me. She backs up a few steps. She's like, that's some fucking crazy shit. I said, where'd that light come from? So there are some houses like in the back. So I'm thinking maybe it's someone's light. You know, when you go and then the spotlight hits, it got to be, right? Got to be. My primo goes, you don't understand, man. We seen like a young homie walking and he just disappeared. I said, damn, you fucking seen poltergeist too many times. Fool, stop it, bro. What are you guys on? Let's give me some because I want to wake up, right? And look, as we're walking away, I'm like, man, just leave that shit alone. It's probably someone's house. Boom, the light hits again. I turn around and I see a fucking dude walking. I go, hey, what's up, homie? And God is my witness. This motherfucker like took off like at a jog and just kind of disappeared. And I was like, there ain't no way, right? Ain't no way. So we go back. There's like a bench right there. We're all kicking back. And my little primo smoking a joint with his homeboys and shit. And the mom's like, let me hit that. And I'm like, yeah, let me hit that, right? And we're just, and I was like, hey, man, this is just, you guys are high and we're buying into your shit, right? And so she's like, let's go back to my pad. Fuck this part, right? So, all right, let's go. Boom. So as we're going, there's a car that's pulling up, gang of Southerners, and I see him, and I ain't even gonna lie. You know what I did? I'm a motherfucking gangster. You know what I did? I said, I tucked my Mongolian in the back of my shirt, and I did this, and I went, Sur gang, I'm from the West. And we went in the house, right? And so we're kicking back, man, and there's a knock at the door. Boom, 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 boom. Sounds like cops. I'm like, oh, shit. And these Southsider dudes, they know this chick. She's well known because she's like the neighborhood tirada, right? I'm like, damn, I'm trying to fucking hood her out, but I really was. I'm sitting there like, damn, she answers the door. She's like, don't trip. I ain't going, you know, my primo's like, hey, don't get my cousin caught up because we're strapped. And she's like, what's up? And the dudes are like, hey, let us use your phone, eh? And she's like, why, what's up? He's like, no one's going to believe us, but we seen some fucking crazy shit at the park right now. She's like, we did too. Dudes are like, hey, let us use your phone real quick. She's like, nah, you know what I'm saying? I got my kids, my baby's in here. I can't. He's like, hey, don't go to that park. There's some crazy shit over there. She's like, what'd you see? He said, we seen a fucking ghost, but you won't believe us. And she's like, we seen the same shit. So they end up leaving. So anyways, that is that, right? So I go to my primo, he's an older primo. He's a Southsider dude. I'm like, we're bullshitting. I'm like, hey, guess what we seen the other day at the park? He's like, what? I said, bro, we seen a fucking ghost out there, Winton Vario Park. He says, you seen it too? I said, what do you mean? I seen it too. He said, fool, that ghost's been out there. I said, what do you mean? He said, look, years ago, bro, some bum got killed, man. The little homies killed him out there. And that motherfucker's always in the park, bro. And he like flashes lights at you and shit. I said, I ain't never heard of that shit. He said, because you ain't from here, esse. He said, that's true stories. I said, man, I seen that shit. He said, yeah, bro. He said, it's for reals. So look, never went back to that park till years later, right? Years later, I ended up having a baby's mom that's from Winton. I met her in Winton. So I met her. She lived right next door to my grandmother's house. We ended up hooking up. I've told the story before. And bam, that was my chick, right? We ended up she got pregnant and we ended up having a kid. Anyways, we were going to throw a little birthday party for her nephew, her sister's son, right? And they didn't want to go like to Applegate Park or anywhere because they're from that area. So she's like, let's just go to Winton Park. And I'm like, but at this time I was like family manned out. I wasn't tripping off the gang stuff, right? So we go over there and we're all kicking back. And I'm like, hey, I seen a ghost here before. She's like, don't believe that shit. I heard that shit back. That shit's not real. I used to come here all the time. I never seen it. I said, no, for reals, right? She's like, look, I never seen no fucking ghost. You're full of shit. That shit ain't real. So we have the little birthday party and it's daytime. Nothing, balloons popping, everything. Everyone's doing their thing, right? So we end up leaving back and it's me, my chick at the time, her two sisters, and their prima, right? It's all chicks. And then my primo Ricky, because he was staying with my grandma next door. Whooping, right? Super norteño, facts. And he's like, hey, fool, let's walk down to the Super K, which is right down the street because we lived on Cottage, right? Or Hall. Cottage and Hall in the corner. It's right down the street. You walk, boom, bust a left. There's a store. But if you walk to the right, that's the main street. Winton Way, I believe it is. Down all the way at the end on the left is Winton Vario Parque, right? So we go over there. We get our little Slurpees, our little shit. Me, all these chicks and him. We're walking back, man. I ain't seen a Southsider in the area. I'm like, cool. Today is a good day. Ooh, ah, ooh. And the chick's like, let's go ghost hunting. Let's go find that ghost in Winton Vario Park. Man, we mobbed over there. We sat there for not even 3 minutes, and the lights started flashing all over the park. Boom, 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 boom. And I swear I seen that dude take off running. I said, fuck you guys, this park, and everybody that claims this shit. I'm gone. And I was out of there, man. And that's a fact. That's a true story, man. When I ever get Ricky on here, I'm going to ask him about it. He's going to tell you, oh, there is. And I don't know anyone that lives in Winton, if they'll tell you, man, there's a ghost out there in Winton Vario Park. And that's the truth. I've seen it with my own eyes, man. Or I've seen something. I don't know. You be the judge. Anyways, let me know if you guys enjoyed this story, man. Super Southsider out there, man. He's out there. He's going to get, we used to call it the Super Southsider ghost, right? Even though they say it was an old man that got killed by some Southerners, there's still some Southern shit going on there. With that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people, man. This video is sponsored by Vario Liquors out there in Turlock, California. Not Winton. Don't go over there where the ghosts are at. Go where the meth ghosts are at. In Turlock, California, go pull up to the Vario and get you some of that good thing to drink, man. This is the gun. Bang, bang.